I think so. My prediction is going to be in the next 2 days, we're going to hear that Nick Foles will indeed be the starter if healthy. Remember, this all is contingent on Nick Foles even being healthy. So yeah, that's the latest on that. Now let's jump into the video. Here we go.
What's up, guys? Welcome to SIBZ. Today we're going to be talking about football. This is the third time I've recorded this video because I really wanted to be concise because I know there's a lot of feelings that always get mixed up in quarterback controversy. As I'm sure you've read the title, today's video is going to be about what is hopefully the end of Minshew Mania, at least in Jacksonville. I just finished watching the London game between Jacksonville and the Texans, and we'll talk about his performance, but I want to talk about Minshew Mania as a whole and why I think that it's mostly manufactured. And I'm sorry, that may make people angry, but here's the thing. Jacksonville was supposed to be a big market team this year with a big story, okay? Nick Foles, the Super Bowl winning quarterback, MVP, comes from Philadelphia. Maybe a split fan base or whatever, coming to Duval, okay? A Super Bowl ready team, pretty much. A couple years back, they were a couple games from winning the Super Bowl. A basically Super Bowl ready team, getting a Super Bowl quarterback, 3-time playoff appearing quarterback to come and take them over the top. Okay, that was the storyline. And we were supposed to spend all season comparing Carson and Nick, Duval and the Eagles. What's their record? How are their quarterbacks playing? Okay, when Nick Foles got injured week 1, all that went out the window. And so there was a vacuum. I know if I'm a business, if I'm Jacksonville, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of ticket sales. That's a lot of headlines that I've just lost. So if I see any kind of spark, I'm going to pour gasoline on that. In comes Gardner Minshew, the man with the stash, the man with the jorts, and all this, Minshew Mania, okay? And he plays really great. I'm not taking anything away from what he's actually done. He's got a look, he's got a style, he's got a swag about him, and he plays very well. But I think what's driven that Minshew Mania is the necessity for a big storyline for Jacksonville. But here's where I think the Minshew Mania got blown way out of proportion. At some point during the season, the fans or the media, probably the fans led by the media, somewhere in this 500 season that the Jacksonville Jaguars have been having, people started weighing regular season 500 or mediocre success with playoff appearances and Super Bowl ring, Super Bowl MVP quarterback Nick Foles. Remember, Gardner Minshew, a lot of people are saying he's a guy who we see so much potential in. He could be our quarterback of the future. You're talking the next 10 years. Here's the problem. The Jacksonville Jaguars won a Super Bowl now. They paid Nick Foles $88 million or $50 million guaranteed for a Super Bowl now. Okay? Gardner Minshew is, I'm going to say this, he's nowhere near winning a Super Bowl. The man hasn't even played in a playoff game. Okay? As where Nick Foles, he's the old tried and true. We've seen him in the playoffs, ice in his veins. There's not really a lot of moments too big for him. I don't know how many Jacksonville Jaguars fans know this, but Nick Foles beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady in that game, I think, put up his best Super Bowl performance ever in that game. So it was Brady at his best in the Super Bowl, and Nick Foles outdueled him, including catching catching a touchdown pass. So I don't know if I missed a memo or something, but when did we start comparing Gardner Minshew with Nick Foles as far as who could take this team to a Super Bowl? As where one guy, Nick, has already done it with a team. Meanwhile, Gardner Minshew is sitting with as of the end of this game, an under 500 team, getting swept by the Texans in a ruthless and very difficult division. So somebody explain Minshew Mania to me. It was a lot of fun. I saw the fans with the mustaches and crazy stuff, the jorts and like all that. The cultural impact is undeniable. Certainly bigger than what Nick had coming into. And Nick's not that guy. He's not flashy like that. It's pretty boring with Nick Foles. But once again, I think that the media and even the fans, they've gotten caught up in the lights. And they're not realizing that what you need is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback who can take your team all the way, who's going to have ice in his veins in those clutch moments. And getting into Gardner Minshew's performance, and I know you're going to hear a lot about this, four turnovers, 2 fumbles, 2 interceptions, and I think 3 of those happened in the last 6 minutes of the game as I was watching. I think it was 6 minutes on the clock. 3 of them back to back. 2 interceptions, and a fumble in the last 6 minutes of the game. And I understand, toward the end of the game, you're just trying to make something happen. But a lot of people said that he was pretty much playing for his position in this game. Big rivalry. They had already lost to the Texans, okay, this season. They needed this win, okay, to be over 500 going into the bye week. He couldn't have put up a worse performance. And what that says to me, it doesn't mean he's not talented. Let me say that to all the Gardner Minshew fans. It simply means that he's inexperienced. That's all that is. Maybe a little bit of nerves. Maybe he was thinking too much about the situation. As where we've heard Nick Foles say time and time again, don't look at the score. Don't think about that. Stay in this moment. Let's drive down the field. I witnessed it. As an Eagles fan, we saw Nick Foles come in twice last year and the year before and take us deep into the playoffs. 2 years ago, taking us to the Super Bowl, and last year taking us deep into the playoffs. So please, I'd like to hear your best arguments in the comments below. Gardner Minshew's regular season 500-ish team success, when that became more important, or when that started to weigh heavier than 3-time playoff appearing Super Bowl MVP against the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, when Gardner's resume started looking better to you guys. Because as an Eagles fan, if we had a hard time making that decision, it should be a no-brainer for you guys. Start the Super Bowl MVP. He's 30 years old. People always say Gardner's the guy for the future, but like I said, Nick Foles could play another 6-7 years easy. And of course, health, your best ability is your availability. I understand that. Okay, so if health becomes an issue, you can't play with that, because that's going to take years and years, and you'll have an Andrew Luck situation or whatever, where you're putting so much hope in a guy who just is never able to come back like you really need him to. But barring injury, this is such an easy decision. I don't know why people are having a hard time with it. And I thought this before this game today in London, which was embarrassing for Jacksonville. I thought this before that. Super Bowl MVP. There was almost nothing Gardner Minshew could do this season outside of going deep into the playoffs or winning a Super Bowl that would make his resume look better than Nick Foles. Say he has a winning record, right? Number 1 in the division. Does that mean he can win a playoff game? It's a completely different environment. Does that mean he can win a Super Bowl? That's a completely different environment from the playoffs. No, it doesn't. It doesn't mean that. There are great quarterbacks who play great seasons and can't win in the playoffs. There are quarterbacks who play mediocre seasons and always win in the playoffs but never win Super Bowls. And there are quarterbacks who do neither of the former and then win Super Bowls. So Gardner Minshew, all we know from him is that he can play well in the season, in the regular season. So anyway, those are my thoughts on why Minshew Mania makes no sense to me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I really want to hear from you guys what this whole comparison is. I mean, Philly, we just gave you a Super Bowl MVP. Like, Gardner Minshew? Like this video if you like this video. Be sure to subscribe and click that bell so you can find out when we drop more videos like this. If you like my football videos and when I talk about football, I'll do more of that. Just let me know in the comments below, or even maybe in a separate channel. I don't know. I haven't thought about all that. But that's obviously going to be up to you guys. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for spending time with me here today, talking a little football, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.